What a momentous occasion. My name is Paul Williams, and I am the still relatively new Deputy Mayor of the City of St. Paul as of 2 months. And I want to welcome you. Thank you. I want to welcome you here on behalf of Mayor Chris Coleman, who's unable to be with us today. And I bring you his warm greetings, and I know many of you know that he has been a staunch advocate for development along University Avenue and in this neighborhood. He lived in this neighborhood, as a matter of fact, when I first started working with him. And light rail development and the Central Corridor has literally been among his top priorities in the mayor's administration for the last 5 years. But this is also a special day for me because 4 blocks to the west of here, my mother's family grew up and was raised, and 4 blocks to the east of here, my father's family was born and raised in the Rondo neighborhood. And as a matter of fact, on this very corner, right outside that window, I used to catch the 16A bus to get over to the University of Minnesota, right in front of the notorious Belmont Club. And to say that was a slice of culture is, but it was very, to see that transformation over 20, 30 years is really phenomenal. And to see so many of you in the room today is really phenomenal. The other involvement that I had, of course, during my tenure at LISC was to actually be one of the early financiers of this very deal, and many of the projects that have gone before this along University Avenue. So it truly is an honor to be here, and what an impressive development. We just toured some of the commercial spaces, the housing spaces, truly high quality work, and truly an asset to the neighborhood. So it's particularly important day for me, and I'm grateful to be here. There are numerous partners who played a key role in this project and in building strong businesses and entrepreneurs along the avenue. We've got numerous elected officials here and institutional leaders, civic leaders. Literally, we'd be here all day if we tried to list all of you, but just know from the bottom of the mayor's heart that we very much appreciate your partnership and your help in getting this work done. One of those partners, though, is the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and they've been particularly important in this effort, and we're delighted that Secretary Donovan has joined us today to celebrate these entrepreneurs and this project. Secretary Donovan joined the Obama administration 2 years ago as the nation's 15th Secretary for Housing and Urban Development, and as many of you know, he's been one of the leading innovators in the housing and community development industry, not only leading HUD's extensive housing work, but also in pushing the intersection between economic development, housing development, social services, transit. He's been a true proponent for that work. And a lot of that has been based on what I know of his work in New York City as the commissioner of the New York City Housing Department, where he led some of the most innovative financing efforts for affordable housing in the nation. So please join me in welcoming Secretary Sean Donovan.
Thank you all. What a wonderful, wonderful celebration. There may be a little snow outside, but it sure is warm in here, and I am so happy to be back with you all. I do want to thank Deputy Mayor Williams for the introduction, but particularly for a lifetime of dedication to this kind of work. It really is a testament to being here today. You heard the full circle that he just talked about in terms of his work here. I also have to say, standing right behind me are 2 people who have made not only this kind of rejuvenation, rebirth of communities possible across their districts, but are leading the way around the country for this kind of work. Congresswoman McCollum has been just an incredible fighter. You should have heard her as we were touring upstairs. The passion she has about every single detail of the way this building has been developed. You can hear the commitment commitment she has, not just to seniors, but to every one of her constituents in the way she talked about the work upstairs. And my good friend who I've worked with on the Financial Services Committee and is just such an innovator on housing and community development issues, Keith Ellison, has been fantastic to work with. And it really is a testament to all of your innovation and the work that you're doing to have a congressional delegation led by these two just real innovators in community development. And I will tell you, this model that we're standing in of a 202 that is mixed use, this is not easy to do. I ran the 202 program when I was at HUD 10 years ago. We did some of the first McFinance 202s in the country when I was housing commissioner in New York City. And thanks to the two of them, and as part of the most productive lame duck session in the history of Congress, we now have legislation that has fundamentally changed the 202 program to allow this kind of development to happen all across the country. So that is the kind of leadership that you have here. Now, it only makes sense that they would represent all of you because you all are such innovators as well. And this is my third trip to the North Star State since becoming secretary, and I love coming back here because I learn something every time. I've learned something just walking around and hearing the way this incredible project was put together, and I learned something great this morning meeting with business and philanthropic, public sector, private sector leaders, talking about the way this whole region is becoming a sustainable community, about the corridors of opportunity, where we're standing here today, and the light rail, the way that is so deeply integrated with the work that you all are doing. And fundamentally, what you are doing is exactly what the President talked about in his State of the Union address. When he talked about winning the future by outbuilding, out-educating, out-innovating our competitors around the world, this is what he was talking about. Smart regions around the country realize that to be economically competitive, to win the future, you have to do exactly what you're doing here today and what we're celebrating. And at HUD, we're doing exactly the same thing. I often joke that we're trying to put the UD back in HUD. For too long, we've been an agency that forgot that. And specifically, one of the things that we understand as I stand here with my colleague from the Small Business Administration and talk about what a wonderful partner Karen Mills has been on these issues, small businesses are not only the backbone of our economy and the cornerstone of our communities, they also create 2 out of every 3 new jobs in this country. That's why since taking office, President Obama has signed into law 17 new tax cuts for small businesses. Those tax cuts were included in laws ranging from the Recovery Act, which helped pull our economy back from the worst recession since the Great Depression, the worst economy any of us has seen in our lifetimes, to the Affordable Care Act, which is providing relief for small businesses struggling with high health care costs, to the HIRE Act, which offered incentives to businesses to hire people out of unemployment. And of course, the President's bipartisan tax cut package from last December allowed all businesses, large and small, to expense every dime of their new investments until the end of 2011. It included a major payroll tax cut, and if you put together all of those provisions, that one piece that Congress, your 2 Congress people standing behind me, helped to put together, that alone will add, is predicted to add 1.5 million jobs to our economy this year. 1.5 million jobs this year alone. And don't just take my word for it. I am happy to announce, hot off the presses, numbers for what our economy did in February. Those tax cuts are already starting to work. In February, this country created 222,000 new private sector jobs. 222,000. The unemployment rate came down to 8.9%. Still too high, but absolutely moving in the right direction. In fact, in the last 3 months, unemployment has come down more than any 3-month period since 1983. So we are really moving in the right direction in this country. And we're here today at Frogtown Square because it represents an innovative investment in the small businesses that help our economy grow and make America more competitive. But what makes Frogtown Square unique is that it literally piggybacks onto that small business investment to create affordable housing right above us for our most vulnerable residents, our seniors. And I'm proud HUD helped make that investment possible, providing $6.4 million for supportive housing for the elderly in the King's Crossing homes, allowing residents to live independently and, because of this corridor, in a community of opportunity. Indeed, we know from years of building and financing affordable housing that the most successful developments include a range of not only incomes, but also uses, both commercial and residential, so that residents have access to the retail businesses and grocery stores that are staples of any thriving community, and so that businesses have a built-in customer base. And thanks to Diedrich Young and Damon Johnson's barbershop, I met them this morning. If I hadn't had my hair cut last week, I would have stayed a little bit longer. Phyllis Gilman's women's clothing store, Mike Saul's Subway restaurant, and all the other businesses working to create jobs and serve this community. Frogtown Square represents a real model for that approach. And in fact, 8 of those jobs, 8 of the 222,000 that the private sector created in February, right here at Frogtown Square. That's right, give them a round of applause. And guess what? When this restaurant opens, it's going to be adding to the March numbers. And when you look at the development that's going to ripple out across this community from this investment, it's going to add to the April numbers, and the May, and the June, and July, and on and on. This is exactly what we need to be doing all across this country to bring this economy back. We've been, in fact, and I want to talk about another great piece of work that we're doing with Congressman Ellison in particular, to ensure every affordable development that HUD supports can feature this kind of mix of uses and incomes, whether it's senior housing, public housing, or any other kind of federally assisted affordable housing. Congressman Ellison understands that affordable housing could be an anchor for small businesses and for the kind of neighborhood revitalization that we're all seeing with our own eyes here. Indeed, with partners like Congressman Ellison, Congresswoman McCollum, and local leaders like Deputy Mayor Williams, we can link access to housing to opportunity for small businesses. Congressman Ellison has sponsored a bill called the Rental Housing Revitalization Act that would help our public housing and other kinds of housing be exactly this kind of bridge to opportunity that we're all celebrating today. We can help our seniors and low-income families, while at the same time we give entrepreneurs like Diedrich, Damon, Phyllis, and Mike a real chance to grow their businesses and create jobs. And we can lay the foundation for the 21st century economy our country needs to compete. That's what President Obama means when he says, we've got to win the future. He was talking about every one of you. He was talking about what you're doing right here in this corridor of opportunity. Congratulations to all of you. It is a great pleasure to join you today, to be back in the Minneapolis-St. Paul region, and to see the remarkable work that you're doing. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Earlier today, Mike Tamale compared the construction of light rail to a blizzard in Minnesota, an ongoing blizzard. I want to say, as the deputy mayor in charge of snow plowing, I can assure you, number one, it's not funny, Mike, but number two, If in fact there is a blizzard, we will get you out of here. I also have the honor today of introducing a great friend of St. Paul and one of this city's fiercest champions. Congresswoman Betty McCollum is serving her 6th term in Congress representing Minnesota's 4th District. I think as many of you know, Congresswoman McCollum has been a champion for St. Paul in so many areas, including education, health care, the environment, and most recently, public broadcasting. But most relevant to today's celebration, she has also been a key champion of transit and the Central Corridor light rail line that these businesses will be serving. We're grateful for her support and partnership. Please join me in welcoming Congresswoman Betty McCollum.
Well, Mr. Secretary, welcome to my neighborhood.
It's great to be in your neighborhood.
It is so exciting to be here today. I'm going to take you on a little bit of a trip from my perspective. Being 8 and 9 years old, taking the 8C downtown, transferring to get on the 16 and to go to Montgomery Ward's to go Christmas shopping with my mom. But then watching years later, when I lived in North St. Paul, took a different bus, transferred, on occasion to visit my gynecologist at Central Medical. And over that period of years, watching this neighborhood slip, worrying at times when the bus would stop along on 16A, who was going to get on. That's all gone now. It's hope, it's opportunity, it's vibrance. There's a community center. And we're working really hard with the vibrant immigrant community who has come here to establish small businesses around the restaurants and all that. But more importantly, we're working with the community that made Rondo. And we're coming to say, welcome back home. We're so glad that you stayed, and you're the anchor that's going to make this development work. So thank you all. I want to take another second to talk about something that I think that the Obama administration is doing that is so smart. As the Secretary pointed out, and as Keith and I have been struggling with, and all the other elected officials here, the economy's tight. We have to take every tax dollar and treat it as a precious gift it's given to us to invest. And the Obama administration has looked at ways to bring transportation, housing, small business, and even the arts to this corridor to make it a model to go forward. We have to take every dollar and make it part of the multiplier effect to improve people's lives. So I'm so glad that I grew up in a city, in a community, and now I have the opportunity to represent a city and community who's always thinking of ways to do that. Now, Keith and I'm going to introduce Keith in a second. Keith and I work together. And there's some other electeds, and you're right, we can't get through doing all of it, but my city council member's here. Melvin Carter. And I used to serve on a city council. I know how hard he works. And we have Russ Stark here, who's also on the city council. Now, Keith and I both served in the State House, but not together. Now we serve in Congress together. And my state representative's here, Rita. And I'm going to let you take care of the Hennepin County guy that's sitting out there when I do this. When I talked about working together collaboratively, that means St. Paul and Minneapolis need to complement. It needs to be a friendly competition that eggs each and every one of us on to be the best that we can be, to be the best we can be for the metropolitan area, for the state of Minnesota. And so it is with great honor that I get to introduce one of the best partners anybody could have, my twin brother from Minneapolis, Congressman Keith Ellison.
Well, let me also join Congresswoman McCollum in welcoming you, Mr. Secretary, to Minnesota, and thanking all of the partners who've come together to make this tremendous project a reality. You know, right now we're having a monumental debate in our society over what the proper role of government is. We're having this debate. We're having it in Congress. We're having it in the State House. Is that right, Rena? We're having it at City Hall. We're having, of course, the county commissioner. We're having it, where's Peter McLaughlin? Peter, we're having it at the county, right? We're having it at the Met Council, of course. Sue Haig is here. Let's give her a hand. We are having a debate over what the proper role of government is. But, you know, Hubert H. Humphrey gave us a way to understand that. He told us that, you know what, the moral test of a nation is how they treat the people who are in the twilight of their life, our seniors, the dawn of their life, the children, and people who are in the shadows of life, the poor, disadvantaged. Government has to be there for those people. And if government's not there for those folks, and if we as a society through our democratic process are not there, then we're failing the moral test that Hubert Humphrey set forth. And so, you know, the seniors who are going to live here and call this place home and use the wonderful facilities here for them to gather and to fellowship with each other, you know, I just say thank goodness for the people who made it possible for that to happen. And for the small business people who are going to be able to generate jobs and, well, be able to make an income for themselves and others, and even give some good sandwiches and haircuts, right? You know, that you all are doing a tremendous service for our community, and as you pursue your private interest, you're actually promoting the public interest. And for the people who have planned this facility so that it can coordinate with transit, small business, housing, this is the kind of thing that we have got to be about, and we have got to stand and defend unapologetically the things that we stand for and the role that we think government should. And I just want to let you know that this debate is going to continue. It's going to engage all of us. And I hope those community rooms that are in this building are used for some folks to get together and talk about citizenship, because that's really where it starts, right? The seniors who will live here and the neighbors who will use this facility will also have that debate about what the proper role of government is. And it needs to be to house people. And it needs to be to help them move around. And it needs to be to help us do together what is so incredibly difficult to do by yourself unless you're incredibly rich, which I'm not, and, you know. So the point is, you know, this is a great project, and I'm proud to be associated with it. And you can bet that Betty and I and Congress and will be working hard to make sure that projects just like this one can be replicated all over this country so that we can house America's people, help them get around, help them get some business services, and help them be happier, which I think is a very important thing for us to do. So thanks to everybody. I want to introduce a person who's really at the forefront of this fight for economic justice. And that's a friend to us all from the Small Business Administration, the Minnesota District Office, Nancy Lebersky, who has been at the forefront of this effort.
Well, thank you, thank you. On behalf of the U.S. Small Business Administration, I am very honored to be here with such distinguished guests. And as the Secretary mentioned, small business is truly such a vital part to get our economy going. And that's exactly what the U.S. Small Business Administration does, is we help those small businesses obtain financing to where they would normally not be able to obtain financing. We also have many, many resource partners, the small business development centers, SCORE, we have the women's business centers, just to name a few. We work very long, hard hours out of our office. We are located in downtown Minneapolis, but we cover the entire state, and we are there to help small businesses for the state of Minnesota. I would like to go over just very briefly a few of the new initiatives that President Obama's administration has started with the Small Business Administration, and this will give you an idea of just how dedicated our administration is. The administration had changed our 504 certified development company financing to where we could have refinancing of debt that has ballooned out. We're finding that very many small businesses who had purchased new buildings or actually expanded with new equipment, they were operating off of a balloon payment. At the time when they actually closed these loan programs, they would have to seek other financing at the time the payment was due. Financing is tight, no matter how you look at it. Now with this program change, we can utilize any business who has this balloon payment coming up. We can then go ahead and refinance so that they will have a longer term, up to 30 years on their existing balance for their loan. The dealer floor plan. This is another initiative that has really opened up and has helped a great deal of the dealers who actually could not obtain any floor plan financing. Also, the small loan advantage and the community advantage programs. This is really geared to the small businesses for the underserved communities. And what it is basically, the larger dollar amount of this goes up to $250,000. It's a streamlined loan application that our preferred lenders can just do in-house. Basically, all they do is they will sit down with the small business and forward a certain document, one document, may I add, to the Small Business Administration. Yes. I do mean streamlining, and then the lender will automatically within that 24-hour period receive a loan number or guarantee number from our service centers. So that this program I think is really going to just boom. It would just opened up February 15th, so we are starting to see the activity. I'd like to also mention the National Export Initiative. On February 17th, I was extremely honored to be part of this initiative venue that was at the University of Minnesota. We had so many distinguished guests, including our administrator, the Department of Commerce, Undersecretary Locke, Chairman Fred Hochberg of Export-Import Bank, just to name a few, Governor Dayton, Mayor Rybeck, and we had over 300 participants. This basically is an initiative to double exports within 5 years. Very, very true to my heart. I think that this can be done. And Startup America, which is a new initiative that out of 8 cities in the United States, Minneapolis was chosen. We are going to start this initiative on April 6th. And basically, President Obama is sending his senior staff out here to talk to those businesses who are on the cusp of emerging and growing and become very big. And finally, the E200 class, which is an investment by the Small Business Administration. Mayor Rybeck's office is working with us diligently with this particular program, and what it is it's an MBA initiative for underserved inner-city small businesses. The CEOs, CFOs, CEOs will all be working on a particular program. It will be from April 15th, or actually the 18th, the 15th is on a Friday, through the end of November with a graduation, an MBA class that we are investing. And these small businesses will be able to be in this class free of charge. So this is just, again, a few of the many, many things that we are doing with the Small Business Administration. And thanks to President Obama's administration as well, we are able to really serve the small businesses of Minnesota. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. In wrapping up, we're going to take a few moments for questions from the press that might be in attendance. But I also want to just say in wrapping up, give a shout out to a group of nonprofits that have worked on this corner for 20 years. Neighborhood Development Center, Model Cities. Raise your hands up. Beverly Hawkins, Mike Tamale, Naida Presley, Aurora St. Anthony Block Club, and Frogtown CDC. Without the energy and without their collaboration to come together and demand change, and not just to demand it, but to sustain the effort over years and years to stand up for what they believe in and to be smart about it, is a remarkable effort. So we are deeply grateful for your effort and your investment.